What if the greatest story we are ever told is a lie? From the moment we enter this world, we are wrapped in a narrative. It is a story of freedom, choice, and opportunity. We are told we can be anything we want to be. But beneath this comforting tale, a different kind of education is taking place. It is a subtle, lifelong training in obedience. We are taught not to question, but to accept. We learn to fit into the shapes provided for us, rather than forging our own. This process begins so early, so gently, that we mistake it for love and guidance, never realizing it is the first step in building a compliant citizen. Consider our childhood. As infants, we learn that certain behaviors are rewarded with smiles and comfort. Crying quietly is good. Making a mess is bad. Our earliest expressions of pure, chaotic self are gently curbed for the convenience of others. This is not malicious. It is simply the first lesson. Approval comes from conformity. Then comes school, an institution that perfects this process. We learn to raise our hands to speak. We learn to sit in straight rows. We learn to wait for a bell to tell us when to move, when to eat, and when to think. Creativity is often channeled into structured projects, while true, unbridled originality is seen as disruptive. The system is designed not to nurture unique individuals, but to create a predictable, interchangeable workforce. We are taught to memorize facts and figures, to follow instructions, and to compete with our peers for grades and gold stars. Collaboration, a fundamental human instinct, is often reframed as cheating. The message is clear. Your value is measured by your ability to follow the rules and outperform others within a rigid framework. We are graded, sorted, and ranked, preparing us for a life where our worth will be determined by our job title and our productivity, not by the depth of our character or the joy we find in living. This conditioning follows us into adulthood. The fear of not fitting in, first learned on the playground, now dictates our life choices. We are presented with a menu of acceptable careers: doctor, lawyer, engineer, manager. These are the paths that are most useful to the economic machine. The system gives us the illusion of choice, but it rigs the game. It makes the sensible options far more rewarding and secure, pushing us away from paths that might lead to personal fulfillment but less economic output. We choose our careers not from a place of passion, but from a calculation of what society expects and will reward. We become cogs, polished and efficient, in a grand machine we never designed. Once we are properly trained and placed into the workforce, the system introduces its most brilliant tools of control. These are not chains of iron, but chains of desire. They come in the form of consumerism and digital entertainment. We are taught that happiness is something that can be purchased. The dissatisfaction we feel from our unfulfilling work can be temporarily soothed by a new car, a new phone, or the latest fashion. This creates a perfect, self-sustaining loop. To afford the things that promise to make us happy, we must work harder within the very system that makes us unhappy in the first place. This cycle is the perfection of slavery. It controls us not with force, but with our own manufactured desires. Advertisements and media create a constant sense of lack. They tell us we are not thin enough, rich enough, or popular enough. But they always have a solution, a product you can buy to fix the problem they just created. This keeps us running on a treadmill, chasing a version of happiness that is always just one purchase away. We become so focused on acquiring more that we never stop to ask if what we are doing is making us truly content. The pursuit of material goods becomes the primary purpose of our lives, distracting us from the emptiness of it all. In our modern age, this control has been outsourced to algorithms. Social media platforms are not designed to connect us. They're designed to capture our attention. They learn our desires, our fears, and our insecurities, and they feed us a perfectly curated reality to keep us engaged. We scroll through endless feeds of curated perfection, comparing our messy, real lives to the highlight reels of others. This fractures our attention, erodes our sense of self, and leaves us feeling perpetually inadequate. We begin to perform for the algorithm, shaping our own lives to be more likable rather than more authentic. Even our escape is managed. Vacations, weekends, and holidays are presented as moments of freedom, but they are often just pressure valves, built into the system to keep it from exploding. These breaks are scheduled, approved, and monetized. We go to the same resorts, post the same pictures, and return to our desks on Monday, momentarily refreshed, but fundamentally unchanged. True freedom is not a 2-week pre-approved escape. It is a state of being, but the system ensures we are too busy, too distracted and too tired to ever discover what that truly means. It gives us a cage with golden bars and calls it a life. The system offers one final grand promise. It is the light at the end of the long tunnel of work. It is called retirement. For 40 or 50 years, we are told to sacrifice our time, our energy, and our passions. In exchange, we will be granted a golden age of freedom in our final decades. We can finally travel, pursue hobbies, and do all the things we never had time for. We trade the vitality of our youth and the strength of our middle age for a future guarantee of rest. This promise is what keeps millions of people showing up to jobs they dislike day after day, year after year. But this promise is a mirage in the desert. For many, retirement is not the paradise they imagined. When the structure of work is removed, they find themselves in a void. Their entire identity was tied to their job title, their productivity, and their role within the company. Without it, they feel lost. Who are they, if not a manager, an accountant, or a skilled laborer? This sudden loss of purpose can lead to an identity crisis, and studies have shown a sharp spike in depression among new retirees. The freedom they were promised feels more like an empty, echoing silence. The very concept of retirement was not created as a gift to the elderly. It was an economic policy, designed to move older, less efficient workers out of the workforce, to make room for younger, cheaper labor. It was a tool for managing the human resources of the state, not for rewarding a life of hard work. We have been sold the idea that giving the best years of our life to a corporation is a noble sacrifice that will be repaid. But the system is not designed to care for you in your old age. It is designed to extract the maximum value from you during your productive years. The ultimate tragedy is not just the potential for an unhappy retirement. It is the squandered life that came before it. We postpone joy. We delay living. We tell ourselves, I will be happy when I get the promotion, when the kids are grown, when I finally retire. We live our entire lives in the future, for a future that is never guaranteed to arrive. And if it does, we may find ourselves too old, too tired, or too disconnected from our own desires to enjoy it. The greatest lie is that freedom is a destination you arrive at after a lifetime of obedience. So, how do we break free? How do we escape a system that is woven into the very fabric of our society? The answer is not to burn everything to the ground. The answer is to begin a quiet revolution within your own mind. Freedom is not a place you go to. It is a choice you make, in this moment, and in every moment that follows. It begins with redefining what it means to live a good life. We must shift our measure of success away from productivity, status, and wealth. Instead, we must measure our lives by the joy we feel, the quality of our connections, and the authenticity of our actions. The first step is to cultivate presence. The system constantly pulls your mind into the past with regret or into the future with anxiety. Your now is the only space it cannot colonize, so it tries to make you forget it exists. Practice mindfulness. Feel the sun on your skin. Savor your food. Truly listen when someone is speaking to you. Find gratitude for the small, simple things that fill your day. By anchoring yourself in the present moment, you reclaim your attention. You stop living in a fantasy of someday and start living your actual life, right here, as it is. This is the ultimate act of rebellion. Next, you must become a conscious chooser. Question your habits. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it because you truly want to, or is it a conditioned response? Are you buying that product because you need it, or because an advertisement told you it would make you happy? Are you staying in that job because it fulfills you, or because you are afraid of the unknown? Start making small choices that align with your authentic self, not with societal expectations. Each conscious choice, no matter how minor, is a vote for your own freedom and a step away from the automated script you were given. Finally, you must learn to embrace uncertainty. The system sells the illusion of security. It promises that if you follow the rules, you will be safe. But this is a false promise. Life is inherently uncertain. By trying to eliminate all risk, we also eliminate all possibility for true adventure and growth. Instead of chasing a life of perfect safety, build a life of resilience. Learn to adapt. Be curious. See the unknown not as a threat, but as an open field of potential. True freedom is found not in a predictable future, but in having the courage to live fully in an unpredictable present. It is your life. It is time to start living it.